Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's GZTV back with another video, and in this video we will be talking about the 10th episode of Season 4 of Breaking Bad. Been steadily getting through this series. Yeah, it's a pretty fun time. This episode is definitely a highlight so far on this season. We will get to that in a couple seconds here, a couple moments. I'm talking about Friday, the movie from the 1995 movie. Just a classic. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit because I watched it last night on my Twitch stream. I don't know if they deleted the stream. You might actually be able to go back and watch it. Obviously, the movie quality's not the best because I'm just playing it off my webcam. I'm not streaming it straight through Twitch. That would be dumb. But yeah, a lot of storylines going on here. A lot of crazy things going on in this episode. Jesse Pinkman, Mike Ehrmantraut, and Gus Fring travel to Mexico to teach the cartel how to cook high-quality meth. So the second the episode starts, this is how you know that it's going to go down. Because they're going to deal with the cartel this episode. I thought it was going to be a thing that ended the season off, but we're doing it 3 episodes before the finale. Although the cartel chef chemist is initially skeptical because Jesse is a novice. He's not like a chemist, you know. He took chemistry in high school, but that's about the end of the road for Jesse Pinkman. But yeah, the cartel is impressed when Jesse cooks a successful batch, and he is a badass in doing so, directing them every which way. I mean, if you're out here bitching the cartel, I mean, I really like you as a character, and Jesse did that, and it was absolutely fantastic. I've started to really adore his character in this series. It's so well done. I mean, he's becoming this Heisenberg in himself. A lot of Heisenberg is actually coming out of this guy, and I love every second of it. Jesse is then horrified to hear that he belongs to the cartels. The whole plan was to ship him off to Mexico. Gus didn't really tell him this was the plan, but ship him to Mexico, and he's going to stay there forever. He's going to stay with the cartel. But that's not going to happen. We're going to get to the ending of this because it's one of the craziest endings in Breaking Bad history. Walt misses his son's birthday. I mean, that's a lot of father guilt right there. That I would feel terrible as well if I was Walter. I mean, you could tell he was kind of there was some pretty emotional scenes with Walter Jr. There's everything in this episode. This episode provides everything, leaves no crumbs. So many interesting things going on here. Every element of a successful TV show portrayed here. The action, the drama, the emotion, everything. Concerned, Walter Jr. pays him a visit, only to find him bloodied and on painkillers and alcohol. So Walter Jr. doesn't really like seeing his dad in this state, but, you know, Walter's job has done a number on him for sure. So Walt blames on him. He blames on gambling. He tearfully apologizes. Very emotional. It was kind of an uncomfortable scene to watch on the show, but it was much needed. This bond between Walter and Walter Jr. You know, we didn't really get any intimate. I'm not meaning like love, intimate scenes between these two. But here we are. The next morning, The next morning, Walt finds Walter Jr. on his couch and apologizes for his drug state, saying he does not want to be remembered that way after he is gone. And we learn a lot more about Walter's childhood throughout this story. He tells his son about his dad that died of, I can't remember what the disease was. When he was just 6, I think it was Hodgkin's disease or something like that. Anyway, however, Walter Jr. seems to be more satisfied with Walt's apparent truthfulness than his double life for the past year. So Walter Jr. has been kind of in the dark about things with Walter for a while, and now that his father's kind of telling him the truth about things, he is very satisfied. Skyler convinces Saul Goodman, meanwhile, to transfer $620,000 to Ted under the false story of an inheritance from a distant aunt. You know Saul Goodman. He's one of the best liars in the game. They pull it off. This is another crazy storyline of Ted Beneke facing a $600,000 charge for all the tax fraud and the tax evasion with his Beneke Fabricators business. And so, yeah, Skyler takes care of it. Yeah. Instead of paying off the IRS, Ted uses the money to lease a new Mercedes-Benz SL550 and restart his business, forcing Skyler to tell him that the money actually came from her and that he shouldn't be spending her money on that. She wants him to take action. She wants him to go to the IRS and pay it off. So, yeah. Jesse, Mike, and Gus, meanwhile, are brought to the Don Eladio's residence where Hector killed Gus's partner Max decades ago, where that 89 flashback kind of happened. This is where we're at. We're at Don Eladio's house. Honestly, a nice house, obviously. I mean, they are in the cartel. They sell a lot of drugs, that type of thing. Just before Eladio and his henchmen appeared with them, Gus consumes a pill that has no immediate effect. So I think this kind of foreshadows into what happens here, because this is one of the craziest things to ever happen. I kind of knew stuff was going to go down with the cartel and Gus. I knew Gus wasn't just going to lay down for these guys. He hasn't been doing that for the last 20 years of his life since being introduced to the cartel. Ever since he moved to Mexico from Chile for a moment. But, yeah. Gus and Eladio make peace, capped off with a bottle of rare tequila from Gus. Yeah, it's not tequila. Spoiler alert, obviously this is a spoiler review. There are spoilers. I'm giving you guys the plot. I'm kind of telling you what happened. Either you don't feel like watching the show, or you watch the show and you want my thoughts, and you kind of want a recap of kind of what happens in the episode. That is what I'm here for. As Eladio and his henchmen party, Gus goes to the bathroom calmly and induces himself to vomit. I kind of knew right away that this tequila wasn't tequila. It was definitely some poison. I don't know. He might have put some ricin in it. I'm not sure what he did to it. But, yeah, the tequila was poison, and everyone who drank it dies. They didn't just pass out, they died. I honestly thought they were just going to be passed out for a moment, like a tranquilizing, like, liquid. But no, they die. Gus is also affected, and his body begins failing as he tells the surviving henchmen that Eladio and his men are dead, and they therefore no longer have a reason to fight. They go to the henchmen and they're like, look, Don Eladio's dead. Why are you even here still? You need to go home. You need to go back to your loving family, because Don Eladio fucking kidnapped you guys, used you guys as slaves. And yeah, kind of crazy. Most remaining cartel soldiers flee, but one of them non-fatally shoots Mike before being shot by Jesse. The trio escape the residence. So yeah, Mike gets shot. Gus is dying from this thing, even though he made himself vomit. Yeah, I mean, Don Eladio was kind of smart in making Gus drink this before he did. That was kind of a small detail I noticed. I was like, yeah, he doesn't want to get poisoned. He ends up getting poisoned. Gus goes for it as well. Gus is insane. I mean, this guy's crazy. We don't even know if he's going to survive going into the 11th episode. But, my God. I feel like they want to keep him around just because he's such a badass. But now that the cartel is wiped out, I guess there could be other branches involved. I'm not quite sure where the conflict is going to go between Gus and his Los Players Hermanos and meth business. But, yeah. This is honestly like a perfect episode. It is definitely like a top 20 episode. You know, at first, when I was watching this, I was like, the first time I watched it, well, I didn't really rewatch it, but the first time I watched it, I was like, my God, this is magnificent. It's one of my favorites. It definitely is one of my favorites, but I think Season 5 is going to provide so much, so I'm saying it's a top 20, just to be safe. I don't really have much else to say. I know this review was short, and I know this episode was absolutely fantastic, but I don't know. That's just how it goes sometimes. The video links kind of vary. I didn't really have too much to say. I mean, this episode got straight to the point. I love Jesse's kind of heel turn, and that's like a WWE term. I know it's kind of corny, but his heel turn in a way, I love it. But yeah, just a good episode. After a couple kind of slow ones, after a couple filler episodes, if you will, we get an action-packed episode on high proportions. And yeah, Friday movie review coming up next. New music Friday tonight. I'm probably going to be listening to Uzi. I'm going to be listening to Joey Badass. All on the same night, I'm going to be recording videos for the YouTube channel and editing them Friday during the day. So be on the lookout tomorrow. I should be getting you guys a lot of videos. I don't know. If I'm lucky, I will watch a Breaking Bad episode tonight, but I want to stream me watching that top 200 on my Twitch. GZTV Live on Twitch, all lowercase, if you want to check that out. Yeah, I got to go to work here in about an hour or 45-ish minutes. So, I'm out. One more video to make, then I gotta go eat and shower, all that stuff. I know you guys don't really care, but, dude, what is in my mouth? Salud, my friends.